Hello, my loves. Welcome to your pick a card reading and happy spring. Or if you're on the Southern Hemisphere, happy fall. If you don't know how this works, we've got 3 sets of cards here, and you just want to take a moment, take a deep breath, pause the video if you have to, and see which set of cards you are most drawn to. You may find that you want to pick 2 sets of cards, or all 3, or just the 1 set. No answer is incorrect. It's, whatever speaks to you, and some of you may need a more expanded reading this week. So we have got set number 1, represented by this little dinosaur. We've got set number 2 represented by a shark, and set number 3 represented by a cheetah. So again, just take a nice deep breath, see which one speaks to you, and we'll get started with your reading. So I'm just going to move these little guys out of the way, and we'll start with set number 1. All right, let's see what we've got here. We have got the cardinal, the tower, 2 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Wands. I'll tell you, man, the 2 of Pentacles has come up in every single reading that I have done in the past week, and every single person I've read for this past week, I believe just about every single one is American. So I think this has to do with balancing our finances, which a lot of us are doing right now. Let me read the little blurb on the cardinal card. It says, the polarities of your spiritual pursuits and physical pleasures are out of balance. So do whatever is necessary to bring them back into equilibrium. I think this is like really important right now because we've got this Tower card and we've got this 8 of Wands card going on. So something very quick and is happening, something that may just like knock you off of your feet. And I realize that sounds a bit scary, but it's a change that's really necessary. It's something that has to happen. And with this Tower card, it might feel extremely uncomfortable. And even with this, it just might be like out of nowhere and just like boom, something happens that's going to change a lot of things. So you have that warning coming at you right now. And again, I don't want you to be like scared because this is happening, but I want you to be aware. With this cardinal card and the 2 of Pentacles, there's a real need to balance things out in your world. And number 1, making sure that your finances are in order and that you are balancing things in regards to your finances. And for a lot of us in America right now, we're dealing with tax time. We're either filing our taxes. Some of us are expecting returns. Some of you might be combining that return with your stimulus payment, with your Biden bucks. And there's going to be a lot of temptation, when you get that money to, maybe like really splurge on things. And it's fine to treat yourself. Just make sure that you're not treating yourself so excessively that you're not having enough for, emergencies and for your more mundane needs, your bills, your rent, your mortgage, your car payment, gas, food, that sort of thing. Make sure you're not pulling out of those resources in order to splurge on things. Cardinals are also, they're birds, and, they like us to look at the big picture. They're able to be both in the air, they're able to be on the ground, so they're able to see things from a higher perspective while at the same time remaining grounded. So, you have that big, that big vision for your future, and you're looking at the big picture, but be realistic about, the things that you're visualizing. Just have a little, keep yourself a little bit grounded. And that has been a message for so many people this week. It's been the prevalent message in a lot of readings this week among some very different people in very different circumstances. For, a lot of them are getting a very similar message, and from different decks too. So it's not like, this card just is stuck to something and keeps coming out or whatever. So very interesting. Another thing about cardinals that I do want to mention, it's going to be for some of you, is that they are messengers from, the other side or from heaven, however you believe in where we go at the end of our lives or after our lives are over. It's like a little wink and a nod to you from somebody that you love, that you cared about, that has passed on, saying, hey, I'm here. I'm watching over you. You're not alone. If you're feeling alone, I am here. That sort of reminder. And cardinals, also, big, bright, not big, but bright red birds. They tend to stand out. In my area, we see them a lot in the winter time. Everything around here tends to be very gray, and we get snow now and then. We do, when we do get snow, it is snow. There can be a bunch, and things get gray and then slushy and blah. And, winter can just be, underwhelming visually. And then we'll see these little pops of red in our trees, these little cardinals, just reminding you of bright, happy things. It's a nice thing to see. But it's a reminder sometimes that you do need to stand out and not remain as hidden, or, you need to express yourself a little bit more fully. And, with red, you think of like passion, and you've got that repeat of the red in 3 of these cards, and wands are very passionate energy as well, and very creative energy as well. So we're tapping into that part of you. Now with the Tower, so the Tower comes, when things are not fitting in your life any longer. And that could be people, that can be situations, that can be a mindset, it can be your own habits. It could be, an aspect of your personality just doesn't fit anymore. It's not meant for you anymore, and it's no longer serving you. It's no longer bringing you good things, and can be influencing some more negative energy. If you continue on that path, things might be, a little bit more yucky for you. So that Tower is knocking things down so that you can rebuild. Right. And, this can be very, as I said in the beginning, it can be very quick. It can be something that happens rather suddenly. And that's what I'm seeing, especially coupled with this 8 of Wands, because this 8 of Wands can be news that you get very quickly. Or something that comes at you very fast that you weren't necessarily expecting. And so, that's, that kind of thing can just knock you on your feet, and it can be overwhelming, and it can be sad, and it can be, even hurtful, something that's just uncomfortable. But as I said, when I started this, it's something that really needs to happen. And that's not always helpful to say, when something hurts us and something breaks our heart, it doesn't always help in the beginning to say, well, this was meant to be, and, it needed to happen this way. That's, absolute platitude bullshit a lot of times, so the way that you deal with this energy is going to be what's important, so we can't stop this energy from coming towards you, but you can be prepared. A lot of this is having things balanced, having, something prepared, getting yourself aligned both physically and mentally and even spiritually, so that you're ready for this moment when it does come, so that you're just a little bit more able to handle the stuff here. And I do want to say too, that the Tower is that, that swift, quick action, something that's going to potentially knock you to your knees, or, bring something down. And, there's a quick action with this 8 of Wands too, but it's not all, it's not all bad. It's not all negative. It's not all a warning, and I want you to look at this card too. You have all of these, wands coming at this crow, and this crow's figuring out, where am I flying through these wands? You know, he's got to think quick to see the best path to take, right? And that's using, you know, great, you know, mental acuity, you know, thinking like, you know, which way am I going to go? Which path do I want to choose? What is going to serve me best? You know, and we've got these red poppies and, the yellow sunflowers too. And that's indicating, you know, relying on your personal strength. You know, this is going to be a time when you really have to like bring up that strength that you have inside of you and utilize it, and really, you know, let that guide you, and to remember that, you know, through these moments, you know, there's something brighter out there on its way to you, and, you know, something a little bit more optimistic. Also, with the Two of Pentacles, there's also the message to sort of go with the flow. So this is happening, and you're going to have to let it happen. And rather than like fight against this energy, you're going to have to, you know, really go with it and, you know, sort of see where it takes you, rather than trying to stop it or slow it down or go in the opposite direction. You know, you're going with that flow. You know, but when the tower comes down, and oftentimes the tower is coming down because something doesn't fit. And if you look at this picture, this is the Comcast Tower in Philadelphia, by the way, you know, which can be, to me, sometimes is a symbol of excess. And looking at the Comcast Tower, not going to make sense to a lot of people, but for me, that to me symbolizes something that doesn't fit in. If you're familiar with Philadelphia, our skyline, we had a lovely skyline with Billy Penn, our Liberty buildings, and then they built this thing. And they built a second one too after it. And it doesn't really go, in my opinion. It doesn't really go. I don't want to see it knocked down or anything like that, but I didn't like what it did with our old skylines. And that's what the message that comes to me is like, something doesn't fit into your life. Something doesn't go. Something's ruining your skyline. And, it needs to change. And if you also look at this, there's this big crown. This big crown had been sitting right up here, right? And it doesn't necessarily fit that building. It's too big for it. And it's going to cause it to come crashing down. When something comes crashing down, you know, you have the choice to let it just stay there and let it be a pile of rubble, or to rebuild. And with all of this, you're rebuilding. So something needs to come down in order for you to be able to build it up into something bigger, something better, something that serves you a bit more. Okay. So, you know, a little rough around the edges with this reading, but I don't want you to be like, oh my God, this is so scary. I saw the tower, and, you know, it's not like a big, happy, bubbly reading. I don't want you to like worry in that way. I want you to remain balanced. Keep your practical affairs balanced as well. Be very wise with your money right now, and avoid temptation to be excessive in any direction. And just be prepared, you know, for some of this quick stuff, right? And remember, not alone. Keep yourself spiritually healthy. Keep yourself, you know, emotionally healthy as much as you can. And, you know, remember that you are not alone. And also, you know, for some of you, it's a good time to stand out. This energy here might bring more attention to you, and it might be, you know, something that you need, you know, something that, gets you to finally speak up, and that gets you to finally really express exactly how you're feeling, and what you want to do and what you're meant to do. Okay. So, all right, number one. Now we're going to move on to reading number two, set number two, our little shark guy. We got set number two. Let's see who we've got out here. We have got elk. We have got, okay, another Two of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. This week, the Hanged Man and the Knight of Swords. Okay, so I don't know if you listened to set number one, But in set number 1, I told them that the Two of Pentacles has come up in every single private reading that I have done for people this week. Everybody has gotten the Two of Pentacles from me. People from all different walks of life, people with extremely different situations coming to a reading for, very different reasons, and also using different decks. The Two of Pentacles has just constantly shown up. So for you, let me read this Elk card out to you first. And it says, Elk, stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. And Elk energy is some really beautiful, abundant energy. It's very protective energy as well. It's a bit transformational. And it's also very adaptable energy and steady and grounded. And that was a message in the first set as well, is, the ability to be grounded. And so then we got the Two of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, and the Knight of Swords. And right away, I feel like some of you are in a situation where you want to make like a really quick judgment, or you want to like really, like, there's like a conflict and you want to be just like come out and be like, rah, this is what I want to say, and F you and blah 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 blah. And this is like, step back just a little bit, like just slow down a bit before we make any decisions, before we say anything that we don't mean to say, before we take any sort of action. Just kind of like slow down a bit and think before you act, think before you speak up. And doing so is not going to make you appear weak. Doing so is not going to, make the other person think that they can walk all over you, because you've got this very strong, very protective, very supportive Elk energy here. And I think that being a bit measured and a bit calmer in your approach to a situation is really going to look better for you. And, it's going to be like the more dignified, response on your part. But so Two of Pentacles, as I said with the first set, a lot of people, I think almost every single reading that I did in the past week was with Americans. So in America, it's tax season, and we also just had Biden bucks, or the stimulus, whatever you want to call it, stimmy time. That has just happened, and is still happening for some people. And so, coupled with tax season, you may also be expecting a return. But also doing your taxes, you need to be organized. You need to have everything balanced. You need to, have all your finances from last year, if you had finances from last year, because, pandemic, have all of that together, and organized, and, know what deductions that you're taking and all that sort of thing. So a good reminder to be extremely organized and make sure your books are balanced. Simply that. Make sure your books are balanced. But with the little caveat here that, you may have money coming in and you might want to treat yourself. Very similar message with group 1. You may want to, you're very tempted to splurge a little bit, and that's okay. Treat yourself a little bit, treat your loved ones a little bit. Just know what you have and balance out splurging with the, real responsibilities that you have. So if you need that money to pay some of your rent or your car payment, pay off a credit card bill, if you need to, put money like in your health savings account, practical things that aren't as sexy as, going out to dinner or taking a little trip, just have those things balanced. And be ready to adapt to things, because there's a little bit of, this energy here is slower, very grounded. very much willing to take a moment to stop and look around and being aware of your surroundings. This also needs you to be aware of your surroundings and be a bit flexible and be able to adapt to any changes. And the best way to be able to adapt is just being aware of like the resources that you have available to you and being aware of what's going on around you. And the Knight of Swords, this is very fast moving energy and it's going forward, and if we're looking at things going from like left to right, we're, slow, and then boom, we are going forward into something. We are moving into something. And the Knight of Swords, fast moving, but can also be a little bit too impulsive. And I think that's a good message to hear with this Two of Pentacles. In this situation, you're making decisions and you may tend towards making decisions really quick and without thinking about them too much. Just being a bit impulsive, and there's no judgment in there. We all do that, right? And, nobody can say that they don't do it. We've all done it. And so it's asking you to, make sure your eyes are wide open and that you're very aware of what's going on around you as you're moving forward. Let's not be too impulsive, because if you look here at the Knight of Swords, he's charging and he's got his little buddies with him, his crows, his bluebird, his little yellow birdie on his butt, and he's charging forward, but you don't see his eyes, right? And, and that can be good. Sometimes you really do need to charge towards something and just go. But the energy behind it is saying, don't, know what you're looking at. Open these eyes. Because if he keeps charging forward and he's not looking around and he's not aware of his surroundings or he's not really thinking about things, he could bump into something. He can trip, he can fall, he can get hurt, right? So, you do want that forward moving energy, but you want to be supported by, the ability to adapt, the ability to be grounded, protecting yourself, protecting your assets, protecting yourself mentally as well, protecting your ideas and the visions that you have, for this energy going forward. You want to be a bit protective about that and, taking time before you make decisions. And with the Hanged Man, you may find that you are, you want to take time, you want to sit some things out for a moment, but also you may find that you want to change your perspective a little bit. And, that goes great with this energy here too, because the Two of Pentacles does encourage you to be flexible. It encourages you to be able to adapt to things. It encourages you to be able to balance yourselves as well. And sometimes in order to do that, you might need to change your perspective about things a little bit and not be so rigid in your thinking. Being willing to just see something in a bit of a different way, to see somebody else's perspective, before you take any action, before you make any choices. But so really, really gorgeous energy here. Just take your time with things. And it's boring. It's boring when I say like balance your books. And so you're balancing your financial books. But balance like the book. Oh God, so cliche. I was about to say balance the book of your life. Like, oh, I hate it when I do that. But, what can you do to balance out things in your life? Additionally, with like this Knight of Swords energy and this like charging forward energy, that's really, really nice. It's a nice, I've decided on something. I have a vision and I'm going to make a plan. And here you are making your plan. I'm going to make a plan and I'm going to go for it. And that's really nice. But there's a lot of like responsible and like work oriented energy with that. So you also want to make sure that, when you're dealing with work and career stuff and, that kind of energy, that you're balancing it out with your play energy. And a lot of times with the Two of Pentacles, we want to make sure that you're balancing out, work versus play, your home life versus your work life. You don't want to, lean towards one side, too heavily, because then it gets you out of whack. And then, it can cause other issues. It can cause other negative energy to come in. It can make you overtired, overwhelmed, and then you lose some of the mental clarity that you've got here with these cards if that sort of stuff gets out of balance. But yeah, I see like definite moving forward, and it's good, and you kind of committing to a vision. And that's the other thing too. Before you move forward, make sure that you're committed to your idea and that you know what you need in order to go ahead and charge forward. Do you have the money that you need? If not, what will you do to get that? Or what will you do to, kind of like balance your budget a little bit in order to move forward? Like if you're trying to invest in something, or if you need like a little financial help in order to make this next step, do you have your ideas in place? Are you organized with your thoughts? Are you organized with your ideas? Have you written things down? Do you really know exactly what it is that you want and what it is going to take to get this started and get this off the ground? So definitely think about that. Be organized and, grounded. Have your vision, have your dreams. Just as I said to group 1, visions and dreams, amazing, but also keep a foot on the ground and, remain, with that like stable energy as well. All right. Gorgeous reading today. Just take your time, take things slow. Alrighty, and finally, set number 3, our little cheetah dude. Alright, let's see who we've got. We have got Seagull. Nice. The 4 of Wands. The 4 of Clothespins. High Priestess. Interesting. And the 6 of Pentacles. Wow. So, each reading, all 3 readings this week, there's a lot of balance happening, a lot of balance needed. All right, so let me read you this Seagull card, and it says, now is the time for deep emotional healing. And that energy is definitely reflected with this 4 of Wands. All right, excellent. The High Priestess and the 6 of Wands. More birdie energy. Set number 1 had a bird as well. And with birds, there's this ability to, be up in the air, flying high, and also the ability to be on the ground, walking or being perched. And seagulls are also associated with the ocean or the mall parking lot. Depends on where you live. But they tend to hang out with bodies of water. Seagulls are very adaptable. Like I said, these are seagulls, right? And they like bodies of water. They like to hang out down the shore. They like to be, with the ocean, lakes, that sort of thing. In Philadelphia, we see them a lot along the Delaware River, but in Philadelphia, we also see them in mall parking lots, shopping center parking lots. They will find food. They will find anything, anywhere. They're very adaptable, and they're very willing to take opportunities. They're very opportunistic birds. And if you've ever encountered a seagull, if you've ever been out somewhere, like down the shore, you're on the beach, you're eating like a hot dog or a cheeseburger, potato chip, whatever, you're holding it in your hands. Next thing you know, there's like feathers and flapping and your food is gone because they yanked it out of your hands. I've had that happen to me. But they're opportunistic and they're ballsy. They're tenacious, right? And with this card too, we also have, that watery element, that emotional element, this emotional healing. And you may find yourself in some situations here where you're going to be with family or friends, or both family and friends, loved ones, people that you care about and respect and that make you happy and that you like to gather with safely 6 feet apart. People that you like to be around, and, there's a cause for celebration, whether it's like a birthday party or, I'm seeing a christening for some of you, or even a wedding. Usually I get like, some wedding vibes around this, but for whatever reason, like christening is like a big deal in my head right now. But, you may find yourself like with your group of people, and that situation, there may be some talking and some hashing out of some things, hashing out of some past experiences that are going to lead to your healing. And a reminder too, with the Six of Pentacles, that there's like a lot of give and take to life, and you want that to remain balanced. The Six of Pentacles can definitely indicate that like something good is coming to you as far as like abundance, prosperity, money or resources, coming towards you. But you want to keep that energy in a balance. Like if you receive, remember to give. And it doesn't mean that like, like I'm receiving something, let me give like $1 million. You can also give other resources. You can donate, old stuff in your house. You can donate your time. You can donate your wisdom, your expertise. The thing is like you're giving freely of yourself, but also being willing to receive from people. And sometimes it's hard to do. It's hard to be able to say, yes, I will take this from you. Yes, I will accept your help, or yes, I will, accept your time, allow you to volunteer to help me. But you want to keep that energy in balance and keep that cycle going, that giving and receiving, that give and take. But also a reminder that, what goes around comes around. And what you put out comes back to you. And so you want that to be like, good energy. You don't want to put out anything very negative or nasty or do something to harm somebody, because that energy is going to come back to you as well. And with the High Priestess, you really want to be connected to your more, your higher self. And, that sounds and looks different to each person. For some, this is very spiritual energy, your higher self, some part of you that you can connect with. Other folks don't believe in that, and that's totally fine. We're trusting your intuition, and you're trusting your gut, and you're being very in tune with yourself inwardly. And, this is more, this is jubilant energy, but this is more quiet energy. This is loud energy. This is also a little bit more quiet as well. But, I think coming back to the Four of Wands with the High Priestess, in this situation, in like this community situation. So when I say community, again, it's loved ones, family, and friends. For some of you, it can also be coworkers. And actually in this picture here, we have coworkers. We have 2 Philadelphia Parking Authority figures, and they can be a conflict figure, right? Because the Philadelphia Parking Authority, it's out there and it's looking for something wrong. They are looking for people who are, illegally parked or who have expired tags, and it's a whole culture in Philadelphia. There was even a show about it. And, but in this picture, they're holding flowers and they've got their arms raised and they're welcoming and they're accepting and, they're victorious, they're celebrating. And so it's not really that negative energy, like, I'm going to take your money, I'm going to give you a ticket, and so, with this like community energy and this happy energy, jubilant and, just, I feel a lot of people here in that situation. You may benefit from being a little bit more observant and a little more quiet. So you might have something going for you, some ideas, some things that you're thinking about, and you might be tempted to share and spill everything here. And I'm going to actually give you some conflicting stuff here too with this seagull, but bear with me. Be careful with the information that you share with people. Be careful of how much that you're giving and in what manner you're giving and what you're saying and what you're doing. Be a little more quiet about some things. Know who you're sharing your information with, and know how far you're going with how much you are willing to share. And if it's something that could come back and bite you in the hiney, because for the most part, this is really optimistic, happy energy. But I want you just to be a little bit guarded and intuitive when dealing with everybody, because not everybody is going to have those best interests at heart. It's just like that's not for everybody. It's just something that popped into my mind for a few of you, and I don't want to tarnish this energy for you, because it's not going to be. It's just reminding you, be guarded. And, the high priestess, she's like, dude, like, trust your intuition, right? Trust your gut. That energy within you, from your higher self, from God, from the universe, however you believe, that's a gift to you, right? And you're reading these you're watching these tarot videos looking for answers, but the high priestess reminds you that often those answers are within you. Totally cliche, very new age. I'm sorry, but I had to say it. Oftentimes, those right decisions, those answers, you've already got them. It's about being in touch with it, and it's about finding the balance and the perspective to be able to, see that. So I said I was going to give you conflicting information with the seagull as well. So the seagull has like this healing energy going on here, right? And you're with groups of people here. You're finding yourself in some more social situations. And a lot of us are going to be finding, this energy here because restrictions are loosening. This virus is hopefully waning a little bit. Hopefully, maybe this is going to be the time when we kick this virus's ass. And so we're going to find ourselves in more social gatherings, being able to celebrate. Last year we could go to parties or weddings or, that sort of thing. And this summer, hopefully we will be. So a lot of us are going to be finding ourselves in this situation. And, when that comes about and you're with a lot of people, that can bring up old feelings. You might not be with a ton of people, most of the people you like, but there's some that, you've got some drama with or some history with. And this is a reminder too with the seagull to speak up and to express yourself. And for some of you, your emotional healing isn't going to be passive. She's passive energy. This is not passive, right? So we've got passive energy, active energy, and then we've got balance. Right there. So you're balancing between that. So it's about knowing when to speak, knowing what to say, and knowing when to just kind of remain quiet and observing, and knowing, what to think and not say in a moment, right? And that's going to contribute to the healing. But for others, a lot of that healing is going to be from you speaking up and saying, listen, this bothers me. You hurt me this way. I hurt you this way. We need to hash that out. I need to give you forgiveness. I need to take your forgiveness, that sort of thing. We need to get in this cycle of like give and take in a very balanced and positive way, rather than allowing some of the sadder, more negative energy to weigh us down. So expressing yourself and knowing exactly when to express yourself, that's going to be key here. And that is a balance, like this whole set of cards here, balance, seagulls, they balance, right? If I don't know, if you're not familiar with them, oftentimes, you'll see them up on like the telepoles, the telephone poles, balancing on one little leg, just, observing, waiting for someone to walk by with an ice cream cone. They can balance themselves on waves. They can, balance themselves. They can soar and they can hover in the air. They hover above you, waiting for that one moment when you're pulling the chip out of the bag, to know when to strike, right? But they have balance there. We're seeing the balance here with the Class Eldenberg clothespins and balancing up this beautiful swag. She's balancing here on this crescent moon. You've got the cup and the wand all balanced. And then you have the scales here as well, signifying balance. So a lot of need for balance, a lot of need for knowing what to say and when to say it. And that balanced approach to striking, and taking opportunity. So when opportunities are presented to you, knowing exactly when to go for it, or knowing exactly which opportunity to take, because with this energy here, I think there's going to be a few that are going to be presented to you. So it's knowing exactly, which one to go for. But in communications with people and your dealings with people, your community, your loved ones, your friends, having a very measured approach to them. and, you know, knowing when to speak up and being truthful and being loud if necessary, and also knowing when to kind of be quiet and hold back on some things a little bit and to just observe, you know. So again, balance. And that has been the word of the day with all three readings is balance. We're all needing some sort of balance in our lives, both in our relationships, with our money, you know, with the tangible things, our relationships, our money, our careers, our health, even, you know, keeping things in balance and knowing when to take action and when to sit back. All right. And also visit Philadelphia because it's a beautiful city. I just had to say that. All right. So lovely reading. Lovely for all of you guys, even set number, what was it? Set number 2 that had a little bit of scary stuff in it. If you need anything clarified or if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask me. And I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is healthy and happy. Enjoy spring, enjoy fall if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And I am sending you all a lot of love and blessings. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye.